Xabi Alonso joined Real Madrid this summer and he arrived at a team with a whole bunch of problems. Now a lot of those problems were addressed in the transfer window by the club and Alonso himself because they were as simple as we just need to bring players in. But some of the problems fall on Alonso himself alone as the manager. And those are, and I don't want to go through all of our issues because there were a lot last year. The one in particular I want to get into is the case of players not running. And specifically the big names, the main attackers, the main stars of Real Madrid, Vinicius Jr and Kylian Mbappe not running. Yesterday, we played against WSG Tirol and all of a sudden, the topic I had in mind and everything I wanted to say has had to be adjusted a little bit. Because Xabi Alonso's main problem, yes, is the fact that those two were not running. But yesterday, we saw a performance from those two specifically, even more specifically defensively, that I have not seen from Vinicius Jr in a couple years and from Kylian Mbappe ever. Let's start with Vinicius. Vinicius, when he first arrived at Real Madrid, and even up until a couple seasons ago, while Karim Benzema was still there, he used to run his socks off. Offensively and defensively, Vinicius was a monster. He was not only relentless and constantly driving and attacking his fullback on the ball, off the ball, whether it was him who lost the ball or his teammates, he was always running, always tracking back, always putting in a defensive shift and trying to help his team defensively. That stopped after Benzema left and the system kind of changed and Vini's role in the team kind of changed. But even though it should have reverted back to normal when Mbappe joined, it never really did. And we've just had 2 years of Vini not running. 1 year it didn't matter because we won the Champions League. The team played phenomenally and everyone else was doing okay and everything was working. But last year it just didn't work and the team was playing horrendously and he needed to run. Now it seems like whatever Xabi Alonso has said to him and whatever he has been telling him and Mbappe, it is working. And that is the biggest point. The players are listening to Xabi Alonso. Mbappe and Vinicius are actually listening to him and actually working. Because Vinicius Jr last year, yeah, we still didn't see the offensive Vini that we're used to. The monster who makes his fullback look like a joke and embarrasses him time and time again. We didn't see that Vinicius. But defensively, we've seen the Vinicius I want to be seeing. The Vinicius we had before. The Vinicius that this team needs. The one that offers help defensively and offensively. And I think it is a step in the right direction. He will get back to what he does on the ball. He will get that because you don't just lose that ability and that talent. But the defensive work rate and the defensive shift, that's something that's mental. That's something that a player needs to willingly do. That's not something they gain or lose. That's something that their mindset has to allow them to do. And finally, Vini is doing that again. And he was phenomenal yesterday. There was one point in the game where Vini was our left back. Carreras had pushed very, very far forward. The attack had broken down. The opposition team had won the ball back and they were countering. And the ball was on the right wing. And Dean Howson was the defender covering the attacker. And his supporting left back, his supporting player was Vinicius Jr. The player sprinting back more than any other player on our team and trying to make sure he helps his defender was Vinicius Jr. And I am just laughing because I'm so happy and I can't believe what I was seeing. And Vini ended up winning the ball and the attack was ended and we had no threat because it was 2 against 1 and the poor attacker had nowhere to go. And it's exactly what we need to be saying. I'm actually so happy. I'm genuinely so happy. I cannot even begin to get into how happy I am to see Vini, the Vini I know and love, back doing what he does, which is helping his team and working his socks off for the badge. Moving on to Kylian Mbappe. And with Mbappe, it's even more impressive. With Mbappe, I could talk for an hour. I could genuinely go off for hours about how impressed I was with Kylian Mbappe. Because with Vini, we've seen it before. We've seen Vini do this before. I've never seen Mbappe do this. I have never seen Mbappe press, track back and defend and work off the ball as much as I saw him do that yesterday. Never. Neither with PSG, neither with France, not even under Luis Enrique, a manager who is known to get on top of his players, who is known to get on into his players and tell them, look, you need to do this or you're not playing for me or you might be leaving the club. We've even seen the clip where he was going in on Mbappe telling him you need to be like Jordan or this is what Jordan did. And it still wasn't working. Mbappe still wasn't running. When I saw that, I thought there's no way. If that's not working and this manager can't make him work, nobody will. But yet here we are. Xabi Alonso has somehow got this guy running. You know how these managers and this system in modern day football, they have triggers, right? The first line of defense is the attackers. And the attackers are the ones who set the press. Like, it's when they take off, everyone else also takes off. But the attackers themselves and the team as a whole, they're looking for certain triggers. So, for example, if there's a heavy touch, that's a trigger. Everyone press. Because if a player takes a heavy touch, he's going to be scumpering and rushing to try to make up for it. That's when you press, and that's when he either kicks it out for a throw-on or he makes a mistake. And there's other presses, obviously. There's other triggers. I don't know every single trigger, but there's other things that a manager, every manager probably has their own, but a manager will tell their team, this is a trigger. If you see this happen, you all run straight towards the ball or straight to your closest man in front of you like headless chickens, because that's when we will get the ball back. I saw that with Mbappe. So many times in that game, I saw him walking or resting or just standing in place because nothing was happening and there was no need for him to move or do anything. And then something happened and he just triggered. Something in his system just flicked the switch and he was just like, run, now you go, now you attack, now you press. And the whole team with him in unison was pressing and moving, and it was phenomenal because as a Madridista we have never seen this. I don't think we have ever seen our team press and try to win the ball back that high up the pitch with everyone involved. Ever. So it was such a beautiful thing to see. And like I said, Mbappe specifically, he was phenomenal. And the reason I could talk about this guy for an hour is it's not just because of what he was doing off the ball. It was also what he was doing on the ball. Because you would think if a player is that willing to work off the ball and he is running that much off the ball and he is moving that much off the ball, he would lose a step on the ball. He would be a bit more tired on the ball. But he wasn't. He wasn't. Mbappe was more electric and more dangerous than I have seen him, I think, ever. I genuinely think ever. Or at least since that World Cup when he was 18 and he was playing against Argentina, and every single time he got the ball, he just ran through everyone. And they couldn't match his pace. And they couldn't match his power. And they just couldn't get anywhere near him. He just looked like that Mbappe of old. The Mbappe that everyone was comparing with Pele way back in the day. The Mbappe that everyone was certain is going to take the reins and take over world football after Ronaldo and Messi. Now, it is only a pre-season, and I don't want to get too carried away because the level of opposition is also not the highest. But you can and I will get carried away about his off-the-ball work because that was phenomenal. And I can and I will get encouraged by his ability on the ball, because his first goal specifically was phenomenal, and that has nothing to do with the opposition. I'm talking specifically about his run and then also his touch and finish. That touch and that finish, to take it on his right foot on the turn and put it top bins with his weaker left foot while still in the motion of the movement, is ridiculous, and that has nothing to do with the opposition. That's his ability as a player. So that I can get encouraged with, and Madridistas can get encouraged and carried away with. And also his goal, his assist to Rodrigo, sorry, not his goal, his assist to Rodrigo. Those little step overs, 1, 2, 3, and then the step over motion with the outside of the foot just to lay it off to Rodrigo, who gave a phenomenal little finish. He was phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, I could go off on Mbappe for another hour, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to conclude with just his off-the-ball work rate. I am very, very happy with what I'm seeing, and I hope it continues, which leads me to the final point of this video. The players, I think I already said this, but the players are listening to Alonso. The players are actually listening to Alonso and doing what he wants, and that is the most important thing of anything, or out of everything else that Alonso can try to accomplish or get the team doing. The most important thing is getting Vinicius and Mbappe running, and that only happens if they're listening to him, and it seems like they are. And if that continues, we might be in for a very, very phenomenal season as Madridistas. But anyway, I'm gonna call the video there. Thanks for watching, and peace.